Okay y'all, so today we'll be talking a bit about the rifts, right? And particularly the Twilight takedown where you have to fight Big Papa, right? So in this dungeon, there is the main boss in the center of the arena. There are no additional units on top of that, right? We only have the boss. So I'm gonna talk about what sort of gear I've used in order to get several wins, right? I've beaten the stage several times already. So yeah, I got, it's not like a speedrun, right? We tried to do a little bit of speedrun. I'm not even sure whether speedruns are possible at this level. I feel like we have to upgrade our gear a bit more in order to get those sub 3-minute times. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about what sort of gear I used, and later on I'll showcase you the run that I've had, as well as comment on why we haven't done certain things during the run. So for the gear, this is currently the gear that I'm running. This is the gear that I run for a lot of rifts that have mostly a single boss, right? So there may be sort of additional like monsters in that dungeon, right? But for me, I'm mostly trying to focus on doing as much damage as possible to the boss, right? And leaving the wave clear for a lot of the other teammates that I have. So for my setup, again, I cannot stress this enough, right? Main weapon. If you are unsure on what to use, if you're struggling with builds, wolf stick. This weapon will work in 99% of the raids. This is by far one of the highest single target damage weapons. It's by far one of the most useful ones because the wolf you spawn will easily not only do a little bit of damage to the boss, but will also draw aggro to the boss, which is super important, especially against high hitting bosses, because you cannot be taking a lot of damage from the boss in these higher levels, and the wolf acts as a meat shield, right? You really need a wolf. Ideally you need at least 2 wolves, so that when one of them gets killed, the other teammate is able to spawn it on their side, and by the time their wolf dies, you are able to respawn it yourself, right? So make sure to have at least 2 wolf sticks. If you can have 3 or 4, go for it, right? There's really no disadvantage to it. You're gonna have more damage, you're gonna have more tankiness, right? For the gadgets, I'm currently running a spicy dagger. This one is, I believe, unlocks quite late into the game, but there's really it doesn't have to be used on your side, right? The party that I've played with for this run, you'll see in the showcase. I'll showcase you the gadgets they used as well. They haven't used the spicy dagger. Any 3 of the people that I've played with, they have very different gadgets, and they were still, some of them at least, were able to out damage me as well. But if you do have the spicy dagger, I really like using it against single target bosses, right? Because first of all, not only it increases your damage a lot, but it also acts as sort of like a very long distance dashing ability, where as soon as the game starts, you are able to quite literally just pop straight next to the boss, right? Monster Taser, this one is probably the most important one because this will be the highest damage ability that you have, right? This is made specifically for single target enemies that have a lot of HP, where you need to spam, right? You're gonna be doing 500 to 600 damage with this item every few seconds. As you can see, 5-second cooldown. It's amazing for bosses where you don't have a lot of enemies around, right? And the multi-zapper, this again, you might not have this unlocked, but it launches 12 zaps, and if it hits, if there's essentially only one target on the field, all 12 lightning bolts will go to the same target, which gives a really big boost to your damage as well, especially when paired with a spicy dagger, right? Which will boost all of your damage that you do by 25% as well, right? For the passives, I'm currently running Unstable Lightning. I believe this one unlocks only at like level 17 or 18, so if you don't have this yet, you can opt out for something like an Auto Zapper or Unstable Laser, right? Both of them are viable options. But if you do have Unstable Lightning, trust me, this one will do by far the most damage from the passives, right? And for the other two, I'm running Vampire Teeth and Mixtape. The reason for this is, if you look at my gadgets, if you look at my weapons, I'm not running any healing. When you go to public lobbies, I would keep a mindset that they are not gonna be running any healing, and you should try to find a way to sustain yourself. And as long as you are using Wolf Stick, these two passes will be more than enough to fully heal you up quite fast, right? Because majority of the damage you want to be taken by the wolf that you spawn, and you're only gonna be taking maybe one, at most 2 hits every minute or so, and you can easily out heal those with the 2 passives. So yeah, let's go into a run. I'll showcase you what we did. Essentially, we got a run that ended at around 4 minutes 50, and I'll talk you through it, the strategy that I'm doing. We can look at the gear that the others use, and we'll see how to successfully complete the Big Papa dungeon. Okay, and this is the run. You'll see as soon as we drop into the game, I'm using the chili pepper. It does not hit the boss, however, as you can see, it acts as a massive dash, which allows us to do a lot of extra damage by just saving some time on walking, right? And in here, as you can see, the Big Papa, this is the scariest ability that he has. Essentially, he focuses on a target and he launches this sort of like a wave of fire, right? That wave, if you absorb all of the damage, right, especially at like level 15 to 18, where you have around 3000 HP, that wave, if you took all of the damage from it, you would die. You will get one shot, right? Unless you are maybe running the weapon that reduces the damage, right? But essentially, this is the reason why you use wolves, not only in this dungeon, but in a lot of boss dungeons. Those wolves, like, look at this. None of us are taking any damage pretty much, right? We're just able to freely hit. The fire ability will target the wolves, luckily, right? Now, there was a small mistake here. I noticed that usually when I do Big Papa Dungeon, I try to take out those scorched eggs, right? Because the thing with it is, unless you have a lot of AoE abilities, it's gonna be a bit more difficult to deal with later on, especially if you are running a setup like mine, where you rely a lot on only having one enemy on the field, right? Those can interfere with you a bit, so if you have some AoE abilities, to be safe, I would usually recommend you hitting all of these scorched eggs before they hatch, right? Because they have more HP after they hatch. They will be doing damage to you after they hatch, and it will just be a bit more annoying, right? If you don't kill them, you'll notice that it's a bit more difficult, especially it interferes with my damage, for example, where I have a lot of a single target setup. If you leave a few open, it's not a big deal, right? But I would usually not recommend having like all of them open, because at this point, like, look at this, I'm trying to shoot the boss, but I'm constantly focusing aggro on the minions. From what I understand, this team, right, this specific randoms team, this is not a pre-made party, right? I just went into the matchmaking. I think they tried to do a very quick boss rush, but yeah, if we left all of the 8 eggs kicking, I don't think we would be able to even beat it. So I was still focusing on the eggs, right? May have been a mistake, may have been not, right? No one knows. As long as we beat the run, that's all that matters, right? The general strategy you have with my team, right, is first of all, when it comes to basic attacks, always shooting, right? You can see the basic attacks are doing good damage. The wolf is able to take aggro from the boss, from the minions, all of that. For the main damage setup, I am constantly shooting this little gadget right here. I believe, yeah, it's Monster Taser. So this one is gonna be doing around 600 damage every time you use it. It's quite easy to hit. It's a point blank ability, right? As long as the boss is the closest enemy, it will hit the boss. The way you use pepper is I use it 10% for teleporting to enemies and 90% for boosting my own damage. So what I would do is I would use the pepper and then I would try to hit as many other abilities as I have. So in some cases, for example, in here, I would save the pepper for a bit and I'll wait until all of my abilities are ready, right? And then combo pepper into any other skills that you have, because this will increase their damage by 25% as well. It might not be a big boost for the monster taser, right? It will go from like 600 to 800. But for example, for the zapper, right? It does 155, I believe, times 12, right? So that does around 2000 damage. If you pop a chili pepper, that's almost 1000 extra damage, right? Or no, it's like 500 extra damage, but that's quite a bit every like 15 seconds, right? Now see, this is the problem. We didn't kill a lot of these scorched eggs, and this is the problem that you will face if you don't kill those eggs, right? They will hatch and they will absolutely destroy. Not only are we missing out on doing damage to the boss, but we're also just having to deal with these. We're dying to them. Whenever you die, 10-second cooldown, that's even more downtime. Luckily, we do have massive damage, so we're still able to finish the boss, right? But yeah, I really recommend beating these scorched eggs as soon as you can. It will just make your run much easier. And yeah, we managed to beat the run in 4:48. I'll showcase you the team that we have, basically what sort of gadgets they use. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't get any medals. I believe I got second in the damage. So yeah, one of the person using the what's the main weapon called? I forgot. Techno Fist. There we go. Techno Fist, a little bit of healing, fireworks, really good single target DPS as well. If you don't have any other options, boombox. Not the best, right? It's a very good AoE damage ability, but it's really close range, so it's really hard to use in bosses. Double healing, probably would have switched out this, but I believe this person was the lowest damage on our team, so no worries to that, right? As long as they have popped some healing for us, that's good. This is the highest damage, I believe. So again, wolf stick, what's it called? Monster taser, super amazing unit. Multi zapper, as you can see. Instead of the spicy dagger, this person used fireworks, which is again a really good option. I prefer spicy dagger. I like the mobility, I like the combo potential. It's just more fun to play around with, right? For the passives, he used vampire teeth. Again, have at least one sort of healing, whether it's aura, whether it's vampire teeth. Have at least one of them, right? Then he used the lightning and the zapper, pretty good, right? And the last person used again Techno Fist, very good single damage, fireworks, multi zapper. Not a big fan of this, but it is able to clear the minions quite easily, right? So it's pretty decent. It does have damage potential if you target it pretty well, but if the boss moves, the damage potential is lost. Again, double healing and unstable lightning on the passes, right? So yeah, overall pretty good. Yeah, you can see my setup as well. This is what I used to wolf. Again, like, here's the deal. So okay, boss damage, we're looking, I got second place, 127k, 111k. So it seems from this that the boss has around, what is that, 240k. It looks like the boss has around 400k HP, right? If someone wants to add the exact number, feel free to leave it in comments. I just left it, I just sort of like calculated on top of my head. So yeah, you do need a good amount of damage. This is why I don't usually recommend going with like healing weapons or whatever, right? You don't need that much healing. You won't need healing if you have the wolf weapon, right? You won't need healing if you have the wolf weapon. The wolf weapon acts like as an amazing tank, and even then, like, look at this. I'll showcase the tanked statistics, right? You'll see that the people with the wolf weapons have done the most, I believe, if I remember correctly, right? Let me see. I don't even remember if I clicked it. I think I clicked it, right? I think I clicked it. Yeah, so it looks like unfortunately I didn't click it after this run, right? But yeah, if you want to see overall stats from my side, right? So wolf stick, again, like, it's a really good damage weapon, right? It is a long range weapon. It focuses on a single enemy, so even without the wolf passive, it still does really good damage. On top of that, monster taser, 30k damage. That's like the main DPS that you have. Multi zapper, 25k. Unstable lightning, that's a passive. doing 20,000 damage. That's an amazing one if you have it unlocked. If not, there's other options, but if you have it, make sure to use it, especially with these multi-hit abilities like multi-zapper, because it will be doing massive amounts of damage. And spicy dagger, I used it to boost the damage, but it looks like it does a decent amount of damage by itself, right? And for healing, Vampire Teeth and Mixtape both healed around 10,000 damage. You can see they're sort of equal, so whether you use the one or the other, again, is up to you, right? If I could use only one of them, I would of course use Vampire Teeth, but that depends on how strong your weapon is, right? Because the more damage you do, the more you will heal. So early on, Mixtape might be better, but later on, Teeth might be better, right? And yeah, that's how you beat the big Papa boss, the Twilight takedown, right? Pretty straightforward. Actually, when it comes to rifts, I would say this is one of the easier ones in terms of like mechanics, right? Because the other ones, you do have to think about the waves before the boss, which sort of complicates things a lot, especially if you're going with like a single target damage setup I have. So yeah, definitely I would say in terms of mechanics, one of the easier bosses, right? But of course, it's a high level boss, so a lot of people I've seen are struggling with it. So yeah, hopefully this video helps you out a bit to understand the strategies, what sort of teams, what sort of gadgets to use for this boss, right? And yeah, hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you are interested for more moco content, because I will be focusing on it a lot more. And yeah, hope you're enjoying the game, and peace.